together. And that's just another approach to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that your life is so busy that, well, I guess I'm saying that there's another way of looking at that. The second thing that I wanted to say, and I'm hopeful that each of you guys agree with that, is that BA's comment was, in fact, one that I thought was very valid, which is physical time is a very important part of a healthy relationship. Guys who negate that responsibility, or guys who are not considering that responsibility, are just as detrimental to a long-term relationship when they don't choose to do that with their wives as a woman who withholds it from her husband. Sins of omission are just as bad as sins of commission. So that's number one. Number two is, if you have taken the time to listen to what we've said over the last few podcasts, there are a couple of summations that I wanted to make before we make our few closing comments. And that is, communication is key. Setting aside some time to make sure you have that emotion. And then lastly, making sure that you guys are on the same page so that you can do the things that bring joy and pleasure and happiness to each other. Okay, before we go, I wanted to send it around the horn again. Gentlemen, you had some final comments? I saw different guys raising their hands.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you and I see a lot more eye to eye on the point of scheduling it. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with that. I do like the kind of artistic approach that me and my wife have, and I believe Nola has, and it sounds like BA as well. Just, hey, listen, let it happen when it happens. But also, I see absolutely nothing wrong with scheduling time with your spouse, because, like you said, there are times when we feel like we are so busy that, and I think what Nola's saying is, hey, then you're too busy. You need to take some stuff off your plate. But for me, I mean, I'm like, if this is how you get in your time, as long as you get it in, brother, you get the time in. So for me, I'm like, hey, schedule away. And me and my wife did both, where we did a day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, day off, and then the spontaneity is so much more invigorating. But the day on, day off was great because my wife knew she wouldn't have to worry about it one day, and I knew that I was, life was going to be great that evening. So, for both of us, of course. But anyway, my point is, I feel like however you want to do it, whatever works best for you guys, just make sure you get your time in there with your spouse. It's important.
Absolutely. And Nola, did you want to comment real quick?
Yes, Nola 73, meet you where you at. Basically, what I wanted to say is, after listening to the both of y'all, one of the things that stuck out to me is going back to scheduling time. We all talk about scheduling time, but if me and you we never schedule time and we never come together, how did we come together to make kids? We didn't schedule time to make that. Our lives wasn't that busy. And if we got a divorce, are you going to schedule time to meet the next man? No, you just pull back on some things to make that happen. And this is what I don't understand. This is how I see a lot of stuff creeping into the relationship. Oh, I just don't have time for my husband. Okay. And I have to sit down here and now try to figure out a way to schedule and mark myself on your calendar so that we can come together and sleep. But if I walk out of the life, you will find time to get with your girlfriends and talk about what I did wrong. You will find time to go out with your girlfriends to meet another man. Don't go to that extreme. Don't let it get to that extreme. We shouldn't have to make plans to come together. We make plans to go on vacation. We make plans to go visit family and friends, but never to come together in the bedroom in the same house under the same roof that we're living in.
I think this. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I think this is probably one where we disagree, and I don't think that Nola disagree on a lot, actually. But I'm more of his mindset when it comes to my own personal relationship. But I don't think there's absolutely anything whatsoever wrong with scheduling time, and because especially he gave the point. Well, you might have to. You're not going to schedule time to go talk to your friends about it. Well, you actually might. There are people, and I'm sure you actually know them, that actually would be like, hey, listen, I need to talk to Carla, but I can't do it till after my 10:30 appointment, but before my 11 o'clock lunch. So I'm actually going to schedule. I'll talk to her about 10:45. So I believe there are people that actually do that. And would have to schedule time to have these problems. Do I believe that people's lives can get so overwhelmed that they need to cut back and realize what matters most? Yeah, their family, their wife.
But, I mean, I'm going to be vulnerable here, and I'm going to actually say that I'm guilty of not scheduling in. I'm a bit of a workaholic, and a lot of you guys know that I am, and I'm not necessarily proud of that, but I work a lot. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I stop working at 11:30 at night. So if I don't plan something in my day, then it doesn't end up in my day. I mean, it just doesn't. I just have a lot of things. I run 2 companies. I spend a lot of time, reviewing charts, and I do a lot of things in a day. But if I didn't take time to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to make sure that at 8:30, I'm going to call blah, blah, blah. Or if I didn't put it on my calendar that at 6:30 on Mondays, I'm going to call so-and-so. If I didn't do those things, then it would be unlikely that they would get done just because I have so many things to do. Now, is it possible that my life is too busy? Potentially. But I know that there are some people who set very high standards and big goals, and they want to make sure that they reach them. So for me, if I want to make sure a woman is in my life, I schedule her in. If I want to, if I want to have time with my, with my loved ones, I schedule it in. They know to call me at least a week in advance if they want me to attend something, because chances are I might not be around to attend it. I mean, that's the facts. I mean, it's just not that easy to put certain things in and take certain things out. I'll give you an example. Last week on Friday, I missed a date because it was St. Patrick's Day. And I totally forgot about St. Patrick's Day. I was busy doing a remodel. I had no clue about St. Patrick's Day and didn't care, but it was important. I had a date. I had something to take care of. But you know what? I immediately evaluated what was important. But I can tell you, if I hadn't have scheduled that time off, I wouldn't have taken that time off. I would have worked right on through it and not thought a second thing about it. And I think a lot of times we have to recognize, maybe I'm a bit too busy, but I do recognize that, okay, if I do want to keep up the schedule, if I do want to reach my own personal goals, if I want to reach my professional goals, I've got to be this busy. And if I want to have a life also outside of work, I've got to schedule it in to make sure that I don't allow the things that I'm passionate about, besides people, to overflow into my personal life and to exclude it. So being vulnerable, I will say, I have to schedule it. I schedule time in for those I love. All right.
Yeah, like I
have to.
I'm definitely. Me and her had to do the same thing, and again, as somebody that I'll be working when I get off here. When I get off here, I'm going to be working because I have to.
Sure.
I got a class. I got to teach. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So me and my wife have scheduled it. But do I feel like it's better and especially even for workaholics? Maybe that's something for another day or topic. But to give in to more, to challenge themselves to be more spontaneous, because I do believe the best times.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not in it. I think spontaneity is good. No, don't get me wrong.
I took her to a cabin in Gatlinburg, and right when I got in there, we had no plan. She had no plans. I had no plans for doing anything. And right when we got in there, it was like, I was like, honey, I don't know what this is. This is not normal. It's nothing I've experienced for years. But I absolutely have to be with you right now. And she's kind of like, okay, well, okay, sure. We just got in, put our bags down. And that was one of the most wonderful, she cried. And, for us to be vulnerable here, she cried. And that was one of the most amazing times that we never will forget, because it was absolutely unplanned.
Yes, right.
Unbridled.
Right.
Yeah.
But the physical event wasn't planned, but you set aside the time so that there was, right. You scheduled it. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to schedule out the time so you can make sure that you're present and in the moment, and you have made preparations so other things are not in the way. And I think that's the key to clearing up some of this confusion about scheduling. We're not saying you don't schedule, that you have to schedule every activity to the point where, your life is inflexible. But if you're a busy person and you want to make sure that you've got time with your kids, time with your spouse, time with your loved ones, your siblings, whatever, you better put those things on in a schedule to make sure that you set aside those times so that you don't miss important things. You don't want to miss the birthdays because you forgot about them while you're working. You don't want to miss the anniversaries. You want to pencil those in, or ink them in, not pencil them in, ink them in. And if you're going to go take some time away, that'll give you the opportunity to be spontaneous multiple times in an evening, perhaps, just because you've set aside the time to be away. I'm not suggesting that everything has to be regimented. On Tuesday, we will have intercourse 3.5 times. No, I'm not saying.
Whoa, you guys are doing great.
We shall have these many, no, we're not saying that. What I am saying is, if you really are a busy person, you better put it on your schedule. If you are a busy person who's trying to accomplish something, you better put it in. Otherwise, you will forget, because the things outside the home will always drag you away. If you're not careful, they'll always pull you away from those you love. And at the end of your life, you're not going to want to be surrounded by your accomplishments. You want to be surrounded by your people. And that's the thing that I think most people forget. So there has to be balance to that. That's all I'm saying. All right. All right. I wanted to have one last comment before we leave, and that is, are there words of encouragement we can give gentlemen who are having problems in the bedroom? Are there words of advice or encouragement to help them to look to solutions that might work with themselves and their spouses?
NOLA 73. One of the things that I would say based upon that is, a man love a woman to inspire him, to caress him, to present him as a king. You know, baby, you can do it. You can do whatever you want. Don't worry about it. You can conquer it. You know, words of affirmation from a woman to a man is something that a man like to hear. They thrive on that. That gives them that motivation. So, you know, in the bedroom, you know, caressing, stroking him or whatever, you let him know that, you know what, we can do this tomorrow. We can go. I'm gonna look into it. You know, find out what. Let me ask around. You know, and when I say ask around, not asking family members and friends, but asking physicians, trained, you know, physicians, because you don't want a man to know that his business is being put on the street or being broadcasted to your friends and stuff like that. But, you know, taking that initiative to find out with the both of y'all, you know, consent. That's something that a man would love to hear or see his woman do as well, because that shows that she's concerned about his health as well as, you know, her not being selfish and trying to just get herself pleased. You know, I want to make sure that you're okay because of what? I love you and I want you to be around.
That's an excellent point. Also, Mustang, did you have a couple of closing comments?
I didn't. Actually, there's something very important here in the house that I had to take care of.
Understood.
Outside the studio.
Understood. And BA, any other final comments?
Well, just the biggest thing is if in the bedroom, if you're having problems, communicate, you know. Like Noah was saying about medical physicians, go to them, you know. If you're really having mental problems, like mental issues with that, I'd say find a pastor at a church because, you know, what is said there should be confidential. You know, it's a lot cheaper than going to a psychiatrist, but look to yourself to better yourself. Matter of fact, there's a lot of men's magazines that have some great articles out there. And I'm talking Muscle and Fitness, Men's Journal. They really help you out. Most people don't pay attention to those important articles, but they're in there.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure to invigorating conversation as well. I'm excited that we have had the chance to talk about this topic. I think that the folks who have listened to us over the past few weeks have gained a lot of insight into not only the male psyche, but they've gained a lot of insight into potential ways to solve some problems. We're not experts, but we are men, and we do experience things. And it is exciting to know that we have a group of guys who are willing to be so open and honest about their feelings, particularly when it comes to issues in the bedroom. Thank you all, each and every one of you all, for checking out our podcast. We ask that you would consider subscribing to our podcast on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Also, we are on iTunes now, and you may feel free to download our shows from iTunes. Just simply search Conversations from the Cave. I am your host, Kirk Kennedy, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week.
Conversations from the Cave is brought to you by the Alabama Cornea Care Center, Northern Alabama's first irregular cornea, keratoconus, and scleral lens referral center, specializing in the management of degenerative cornea disease and complications resulting from refractive surgery. For more information, you may visit them on the web at alabamacorneacare.com. The Alabama Cornea Care Center, helping patients see the light of the world. Conversations from the Cave is a production of the Provox Media Group. For more information or to share your questions or comments, visit our podcast Facebook page by searching Conversations from the Cave. The views expressed on this program are the personal beliefs of the panelists and do not necessarily represent the beliefs of the Provox Media Group or its sponsors. Join us next time for more real talk from real men. Conversations from the Cave.